Hello and welcome to the Gone Traveling Podcast. We are looking at the BKT Road to Greatness. The Road to Greatness. We are recording day after the two semifinal game twos, and we still do not have either team for the finals. We, being myself, David Hein in Germany, and Sergio Llebres over in Valencia. Sergio, they want to have you watch one more semifinal game over there in Valencia, eh?
Hi everyone. Hi David. Yeah, another night for Valencia, Tel Aviv, Bahcesehir, and Gran Canaria for great teams, and they want us to work a little bit more. Another night in La Fonteta before it started down. Remember, the La Fonteta is changing for another stadium, and it's kind of positive to enjoy another European night. So it's very welcome. Both series are great and very exciting right now, and they're kind of tied, just not just for the 1-1 result, but for the level of play and the adjustments. I think the four coaches are working very, very well. They are trying their best to adapt to their rivals, something that maybe in the regular season you cannot, you don't have the opportunity to watch more often because of the calendar and distinct aspects of the game. But now in this series at the best of three, you can watch the four coaches at their best, and every coach is, for me, exceptional for EuroLeague caliber coaches for me. Maybe the only one that hasn't played coach in EuroLeague is Jakalakovic, right? The rest of the three have. Well, Pedro
Yeah.
Martinez hasn't also, sorry, but for me, for caliber EuroLeague caliber coaches, and yeah, great series overall.
Yeah. I mean, just gotta look at the scores and I mean, happy that we're actually going to get more basketball because they are two very exciting series. And I actually picked two sweeps, and I'm not really disappointed that either one is not a sweep because it adds that much more excitement, knowing that these guys are gonna have to go to bat one more time, and it's winner take all, it's do or die, and this is the closest we get to like a game seven. I mean, it's game three, it's essentially a game seven, and that's when the big players step up, and we saw some amazing performances, and I I don't know which series you want to start with. Maybe the one that you're closest to. I was really surprised that Tel Aviv was able to grab a game. They were up, I think, by 16 in I guess it was maybe 17
Mm-hmm.
in the third
17, yeah.
quarter, and then you're like, okay, they're going to be able to do it. You kept on thinking. My brain kept on thinking Valencia is gonna do it. Valencia's gonna come back, and then they got it down to like two with like 4 or 5 minutes left, and then Hapoel, they hit some big shots,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really surprised. This is game two. This is the game two. This is in Bulgaria, their home game, where they've been playing all season, and I really was surprised that Valencia didn't finish it.
Yeah, and also we can say that in these playoffs, there are some players that are shining that in the regular season didn't get our attention a lot. For example, I don't know, Marko Simonovic, he's a great player, but we didn't talk about him very often, but now he's been great. In the other series, here I wanted to refer to Blakeney. He had two great,
Antonio
great,
Blakeney,
great
yeah.
games. He was the tiebreaker for this game and almost for the first one in Valencia because he got two great triples in the first game, and also he had two great three-pointers in the second in Samokov. Valencia, as you said, was under 17, but they with Jovic made a great comeback to be under 5 points or something like that. And Blakeney appeared to also with Madar and some other players, but mostly in that stretch, Blakeney went from 4, 6 points to 22 in 10 minutes of play. So he almost stole the MVP for Motley, not in PIR, but like the moral MVP because he was maybe the guy that gave the victory in the last moments. So yeah, that's why Tel Aviv has to be taken into account because he has 6, 7, 8 players that can define the game or maybe a quarter or a crucial moment. And I don't know, the first game was the first half for Madar. The second half was for Foster in the first game, and then in the second game, the first half was for Modley, and the second half was for Blaney, four different guys. And throughout the two games, you could see Madar very with a lot of responsibility and also maturity to like surpass the ups and downs of the team. And also, I thought that maybe Hapoel was running out of fuel in the second half because you could see Motley very aggressive in the rebound, under the rim, and maybe you could imagine that Motley to be one step away from the game, but nothing about that. They were great and they deserve the win because they knew how to stop Valencia. And even though they were for 90 something to 90 something, the game was kind of slow for Valencia, and that was a very good and big problem for them. Yeah,
I mean, I think Blakeney took the Foster role. You know,
yeah, of
the guy who was able to drive to the basket.
course.
Had 10 free throws. Just drove to the basket, and Foster was doing other things. And I mean, you also have to be happy they did this basically with zero from Kabolko as well. I mean, didn't play game one, only played 4.5 minutes in game two. I mean, I don't know, but I imagine it's a health thing. I can't imagine why you wouldn't put him in there.
Yeah,
And so you basically, and also nothing from Bingham. Bingham only played 5 minutes. In game one. Uh, Bingham actually had a pretty solid first game in that
yeah,
series in game one. What did he have? Yeah, 5 points and 3 blocks. He was definitely a factor in that first game. So yeah, and this is the thing that we've been talking about all year with them is with them Tel Aviv. Motley, Foster, Madar. And then here or there, you get a Ginat, and but you have like there's a number of guys who can be that fourth scorer who can also score 15, 20 points. Blakeney has had a handful of games where he's had 20 points, so in the regular season, he scored 20 against Jovan Tut, scored 27 against Besiktas, so it's now it's down to one game, and
40
that and
minutes.
that's why I said that you mentioned before we got on air, you know, Tel Aviv's not playing over the weekend. And who's Valencia playing?
Granada,
Granada,
the last one.
last place.
Yeah,
Yeah. But still they're fighting for their lives, so that's going to
yeah,
be a tough
that's
test
the
for
thing.
them. And it's another game for them to have to recover from. Okay, it's a home game. Is it on Saturday or is it on Sunday?
Sunday,
Sunday.
12 in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, so,
So
as they probably had to go. Anyhow, that's but so and that's why I'm like they're gonna want to finish it. Same thing, but just here. I thought they're gonna want to finish it on the road to not have to come back home and put all the pressure on it. But this is why I guess then you say they play the whole year in order to have the home court advantage, and this is exactly where we're at now. So wait, so if let's play devil's advocate or play whatever played out. If Tel Aviv and Gran Canaria win, who do we have as home court advantage? Let's see. Do we have that? So,
Tel Aviv because they
oh,
were
oh, oh.
they
So
accessed.
that would be Tel Aviv because they finished ahead of them in the standings. So they must have had the home. They must have won the head-to-head to
Yeah,
those from
that
those two
that
teams.
that would be like I don't know how to say it in English, but like the most contradiction in the world to have the home court advantage and not playing in the home court in your home court
Hey, we're right there. We
in
are
the
right
freaking
there.
final
You know,
in the
would you be
final.
shocked? Would you be shocked if Tel Aviv
No.
go to Valencia and win again? No.
From Tel Aviv, no. From Valencia, yeah. I could expect Tel Aviv winning the EuroCup, but not Valencia losing this way,
Yeah.
with the home court advantage.
So 80, they won by 23 in Gran Canaria, and then they won by they won both games.
Hmm.
Did Tel Aviv by 13 and by
But
27.
Valencia, I think you maybe know it too. Valencia has lost two games all
Yeah, we
season
said it last show. This was their third.
in
No, I guess
Barca,
they've only lost two games all
Barca and
season.
Lietkabelis.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
statistically it's very would be
But
very
it's one
unfortunate.
game. That's the thing. It's only
Yeah,
one game,
it's very unfortunate.
And
Would be very unfortunate.
but
Yeah.
you know this team because you watch them all the time. So, but do you think that there's any pressure on them? Do they sense any pressure?
Yeah.
To me, I would say absolutely no. If it was
I
Barcelona or Real
yeah.
Madrid, but Valencia, do you have a sense that there's any sort of pressure?
I, I don't want to go a lot very deep into Valencia, not to saturate, but things are very I don't know how to say it, bad right now in the ambient, in the atmosphere. Because of some things related to next year institutionally with the season pass for the fans. They doubled the prices. Everyone's very, 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 very annoyed. And you could expect maybe Valencia fans not cheering that much in that game. I'm saying this very shortly, but this goes very, very deep into the fans. They are very, very annoyed with the club right now. They presented the season pass campaign just the day after the win against Tel Aviv. Very bad timing because if you lost against Tel Aviv, also you present at prices that anyone loved, anyone. You were paying like 390, like the equivalent seat, 390. Yeah, 390, and now you have to pay almost 1,000.
Oh wow,
Like the
that's
Tribune, Central
two and a
Tribune.
half times.
Yeah, there are normal prices like 250,
Mhm.
something like that, but you have to watch it very, very up. And
The
people
nosebleeds.
yeah, and people from Valencia isn't used to that because we have 8,000 stadium, So
Yeah.
the
What's going to be the new one? How many people?
15,600.
15.6. Okay.
Most like Basconia. Basconia is a stadium,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
and maybe this is very specific, but people in Valencia are very annoyed with the club right now, and you could expect like the home court advantage to be not that great as always for Valencia.
Okay.
So maybe this is a great detail to take into account because
Mm.
I expect people to cheer, and with all the rivalry with Tel Aviv and two great clubs and
So
semifinals.
so how many? I think actually we talked about this for game one. How many tickets does Tel Aviv have that you know of? 200?
I
Okay.
have videos. I can show you. Like they were like 50. They were 50 people, something like that. But
Yeah.
in this situation with just one game to go to the finals and remembering that they filled six planes from Tel Aviv to Samokov,
Hmm.
2,000 people,
Yeah.
I would expect that the club to do something to get more people into Valencia's stadium. So I don't know. It's too early.
But on the other hand, that gives your team less of a home court advantage.
Yeah.
I wonder what EuroLeague slash EuroCup what they have what they're required to do as far as away fans permission seating for away fans. We're getting pretty far into this. We're getting pretty
Yeah,
far
yeah.
into this.
I didn't
So
want to
yeah,
do
yeah, no,
that,
but
but
I mean, with as boisterous as those fans are, and how much that
yeah.
club is pushed, Israeli clubs in general are pushed by their fans, that would be really important.
Yeah, I was talking about the
Um,
pressure. because of the EuroLeague objective and goal for the new stadium. Well, it's
Yeah.
the timing is very bad for everything they did.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's the
Great
pressure
insight
I
as far as
was.
the
That was the
as far as
pressure.
this new stadium next year. Yeah. But but you said this would be the last game. This isn't the last game in La Fonteta. I mean, they would play
European
the huh?
European game. In case they
Well, I
lost,
mean, if they win, they're going to play the
oh,
finals.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
The
Okay. Okay.
hypothetical last
Yeah. Yeah.
European game.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Okay.
You have to remember they won for there, so titles there. So it's kind of special EuroCup for the
Yeah. Um. Are you? I mean, I'm still sticking to Valencia. Do you? Do you foresee Hapoel Tel Aviv being in the finals, or are you sticking to
I
from what we've
I
seen in the two games?
I to be specific, I watched the game like a 55-45% game. Maybe this is for me a 50-50, but Valencia had a lot of complications physically in the second
So
half.
what's the status on Ojale? I mean, is he?
Yeah, I expect him to be perfect because it was a stomachal virus or something like that. It's something that it's temporal, nothing serious, not muscular injury or something. It was just that he was ill, he was sick of his stomach. So I expect him to be good, but there were some players that didn't shine. Montero had one of the worst games he had.
And he
Sestina
still
too.
had 10-9. You
It's
know,
incredible. It's incredible. I know, but the
and
feeling
and that's
wasn't.
what I'm going. I was just going to say. I was going to be, and I'm happy you brought him up because that first game. What do you have? I think he had 20, 23, 20. What did he have in the first game?
24, 24, 3-3.
24. Yeah, 24, 24, 3, 3, and three steals. PAR of 26. Seven fouls drawn. This is where we see. I mean, the kid is. I mean, he's still a kid. You know,
21, yeah.
he'll turn 22 in July. He'll turn 22 in July, and but this is where we see like big boy, national team leader, Dominican national team leader, going against. I think the Dominicans were in the OQT in Spain, right? No, oh no, no, no. They were the one in
Monterrey,
Greece.
yeah.
They were one in Greece with Greece with Giannis, with Doncic. Was Croatia there too? Anyhow, but so this is like big boy. I'm going to be a leader, and he's going to be jacked up, especially after playing that subpar game too.
Yeah, he was, and he also was great in the World Cup 23, and he was just 19.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Incredible. And
yeah,
you could tell, like, I don't know, Sergio de la Rea from the same team, he's almost 20 years, and he's like a promise guy, and they are almost the same age. It's incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Montero. You'd have to say better than me, but I think is there anybody in competition for him to be the young player of the league in Spain, or is he pretty much locked that up? Because I know this is his chance to be to three-peat, which this was
Yeah.
never been done.
I don't expect anyone at this stage of the league. There are like 10 games remaining.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone has the same level.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe you could say
It'd be
Hugo Gonzalez from
history,
Madrid.
make history, and be the first player to win back to back to back. So I know Allison won, and was the other one? I wrote it. I should know it. I can't remember what it was. Maybe I see it here. I'll find it while we talk, and I'll throw it in there later. So anything else on this series before we move to the other
Yeah,
one?
the only thing the only thing that comes to my mind in this series is that Hapoel, also Itudis for sure, knows how to make Valencia not shooting threes all the time and not to take advantage of that, and also the offensive rebound. They they managed in the two games to make Valencia lose a little bit of its identity. That's one of the main things. And Valencia doesn't have really any plan Bs or plan Cs. They stick to their plan. They have alternatives for sure, but they have a very I don't know, closed style, very open, a lot of threes, a lot of rebounding, very quickly, everything very quick game. But Hapoel may be the kryptonite for Valencia this season. And I don't know, there are plenty of ACB teams that could do that, but anyone except Barca could did it. So it's and also Gran Canaria in Copa del Rey, but that's another story. But it's very curious how Itudis is winning in this battle against Pedro Martinez. Two great coaches, and this is a battle of coaches for me, really.
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah,
last
for sure. For sure.
reflection.
That's a good point as far as like, Valencia doesn't really stray away from what they do. They just keep doing it. They'll just
Mhm.
change one of the guys doing it. Whereas
Exactly.
Itudes,
That's the thing.
because he has to, he doesn't have the depth of talent on his roster to do this and then just keep doing it. So Doncic was the other guy. Doncic was
Yeah.
two-time, back-to-back best young player in the Spanish league, and Allison was the other one. So, all right, let's move to the other one. Other series. Bahcesehir took game one and game one at home, and it seems so long ago. 74-66. Um, Marco Simonovic, 29 PIR, 20 points, was just fantastic. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, PIR of 29. Um, and then Boutte uh, stepped up as well. Nobody else did a lot of stuff. Jolene Smith hit a couple of big shots, 5 points, 6 assists. But game one was really all about Mr. Simonovic, and that was obviously he had picked up 20 points in the game before in the quarterfinals as well. So that was game one. Gran Canaria, and actually the biggest deal of game one was the 20 offensive rebounds
Yeah, for sure.
by
47 rebounds to 20 something. It's a lot of
40
difference.
42-27.
Yeah, I know that.
42-27 with 20 offensive rebounds leading to 20 to 16 second chance points. Which, I mean, 16, out of 22 offensive rebounds, you can maybe complain, but you still got 22 off. You still got 20 offensive rebounds. Gran Canaria was much better in that second game, and that was that allowed them to limit those possessions. And they only had Bahcesehir had 7 offensive rebounds. They couldn't get much stuff going inside. They only hit 43% on 2-pointers. Shot okay, not horrible from 3 points. And Simonovic had 10. Panik had 10 after not really much of anything. Korkmaz had 12. Smith did other things offensively, didn't really do all that much. Um, but you look at the other side, Brasino. I said if I'm Bahcesehir, Brasino scares me.
Yeah.
Brasino scares me that he's going to win a game with something clutch. And but to be honest, it really looked like Bahcesehir was going to sweep. Uh, great, really well played execution on the play with 2 seconds, the dunk. Albiese, kind of slept, missed the switch and the roll to the basket for the
Yeah.
dunk.
Awesome.
But then a really nice call to win the game. You had Holmesley come in from the far side and then, sort of went back door and really who found him? It was Brasino. His only assist of the game was the game winner.
And also, David,
1.1 seconds.
the
Uh,
only field
Mosley
goal, the only,
Mosley had all 6 of his points in the fourth quarter, and he completes the 3-point play with 1.1 seconds left. Then they get the win. And another low scoring game. 74-66. This one 69-68. The other games during the season were also very low scoring game. I know the one game in October was 69-66. Let's see if I can find the one in December really quick. December 6th was
73,
then
65.
73-65. So the 74 points in game one by Bahcesehir was the highest, was the most points scored by a team in the series. So are you ready for the the third battle of the war?
Well, I know how's the scoring, but I don't know who will win. I know there's going to be 60 something to
Yeah.
60 something, but
Maybe I'm gonna say somebody's gonna score 70. I should write this down. I say somebody's gonna score 70.
let's hope so. But you mentioned last winning bucket for Holmesley that his Twitter nick is Get Buckets 05. And that was the first assist for Brusino and also was the first field goal made for Holmesley. Um, with that, you can see how different these type of games are for both teams. They played 4 times, and the dynamic is always the same. Very choral games against each other. Um, you barely see someone shining a lot. Everyone is doing and making their role. And I don't know. Maybe for me, the guy in these playoffs is Simonovic. All around, overall. From the quarterfinals, he got 20 points. Then also in the semis with another 20 PIR game. Then in this stretch, in a certain stretch of this second game, he had a lot of importance. He made the almost game winner with a very good continuation in the pick and roll. And I don't know. Overall, he's doing the most he can. He only played 16 minutes,
Mhm.
and he was very profitable. And I don't know, Radoncic is taking a lot of advantage from him, and I don't know. Maybe Gran Canaria deserved a win and to take this series to the third because of the all the season. I think they are showing a lot of great basketball, and this is a very good news for EuroCup or basketball fans. I think these are two very well coached teams. As you said, maybe besides Valencia with their style, in a most with a most post game style, Bahcesehir is the one that better plays that play style of I don't know, inverting the ball from one corner to another corner, playing a static 5 against 5, playing very well the pick and roll and also the continuations and making I don't know long plays to find out the best shot. I think they proposed very good basketball and very good solutions to a lot of problems they need to solve against Gran Canaria because also it is also a very good team. So um, I think both deserve to play this third game. And I don't know. As I was saying, anyone is shining, but everyone is giving some detail that is important. Massenberg, I think he scored 5 points, but made the 3 pointer to give the 1 point advantage with 1 minute left or 2 minutes left, something like that. Very important basket, and he made it and he was like testimonial in the game offensively. So Seamus
But
Hayes,
he was the one who missed who let Holmesley back cut him
yeah, that's
on
that's
defense.
basketball.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
beautiful
exactly. Yep,
game.
yep.
And I don't know, Seamus Heiser, a very good scorer, but he didn't even score a lot. He made 6 points, but he was very, very, very good in defense for me with that 2 versus 1 in the post, in the passing lines. I don't know how to say it in English, the concept, but
Passing lanes.
yeah, with passing lines, he was. I think Bahcesehir had a lot of individual responsibility very well done. They were very focusing on individual roles, and everyone made their best. But this is basketball, in Gran Canaria started winning and finished winning. So third game, and expecting a very good match there in Turkey.
Odiasi, 2 points, 23
Mm.
minutes in game two after picking up 6.6 rebounds, five of those offensive rebounds, five of those 20 offensive rebounds. So you'd have to imagine that Odiasi is going to be motivated to
Yeah,
have a better game. Um, I'm gonna say Brasino's won his game, but I still think Bahcesehir. I think those guys are gonna step up and win it. Like a Ponitka. Korkmaz is starting to take more responsibility. Yeah, so I looked in Gran Canaria on Sunday play Unicaja at
yeah.
home, and Bahcesehir play at home against Pitkin. Oh, that's on Monday? Oh, that's listed as Monday. Ooh, that's gonna be brutal if that's
They,
Monday.
they maybe change it. I don't know.
Yeah. So I have Bahcesehir. But you actually had, if I'm not mistaken, you had Gran Canaria to win the thing in three. So you're right online.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My script is very good with Gran Canaria. I expected them to lose in Turkey, and then to
Yeah.
come back in Gran Canaria.
And
And
you're still on that?
yeah, I think they can surprise there in Turkey. They haven't won any game of the four of the two, sorry, played in Turkey. Bahcesehir,
No teams won a road game.
no. So maybe I can see them, but
Well, you have to stay with your prediction
yeah, I
now.
have to stay with. Yeah, I can see them, but I can see them too losing by 30 against Unicaja on Sunday.
Yeah.
I
They
can see
didn't
that
they
too.
didn't play I looked at it before. So nobody played, one guy played 27, LBSA played 27, otherwise nobody played more than 24. So, you know, they're pretty deep.
Yeah,
Um I mean it's gonna be a war again,
and
It's
they
gonna
don't have
be
Alosen. You have to remember that because he's a international caliber player. So, uh,
yeah, well that we can't, we can't talk about guys who aren't there.
yeah, yeah,
Guys
for
who are
sure.
injured, we can't. So yeah, all right. So Sergio has a all Spanish matchup. Boring.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like mine is super groundbreaking or what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, March Madness, upset. What's it? Anyhow, not like mine's any surprise with the two best teams of the entire season going at it in the finals. So, but we'll see. All right, Sergio. Then I think let's go. Let's finish this baby, and then we will let everybody come back, and we'll talk about game three on next week's show. Again, to remind you, Wednesday, April 2nd are the two final games of the semifinals. Sergio, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you on the social medias?
yeah. You guys can find me in Llebres 11, LLBRES 11.
And I am at Hein News, HeinNews, Hein News on Twitter and Blue Sky. Really not active on Blue Sky, but I do post things there, and so much more active on Twitter. All right,
Yeah,
Sergio, then we'll talk to you next week on after we know who's going to be in the finals, and then
yeah,
we're not going to have to wait very long. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the eighth, right uh, the 8th of April,
yeah,
which is the Tuesday, a week, not even a week later. We're going to have game ones. So, all right, Sergio, fantastic. We'll talk to you next week.
for sure.
Everybody, this has been the Gone Traveling podcast, looking at the BKT EuroCup, the Road to Greatness. We're out.